When you spend your peak morning energy cleaning up small requests, you're using your best cognitive resources on tasks that provide almost zero ROI. This is what psychologists call shallow work. It's performative productivity. You're moving the needle for everyone else's agenda, while your true high-value projects sit untouched on your desk like an unsolved cold case. You're essentially working as a highly paid secretary for your own inbox instead of the visionary leader you're meant to be. But we need to dig deeper into the forensic evidence of how this habit formed. Because if it were just about checking email, you would have stopped by now, right? There's a specific psychological glitch that makes you crave the urgent noise even when you know it's killing your career. And the reason you can't seem to look away from the screen? Well, it's far more calculated than a simple bad habit. Let's perform a Sherlock-style disclosure, on your morning routine. If I were to examine the crime scene of your productivity, the first thing I'd point out is that your inbox is not a workspace. Actually, it's nothing more than a convenient filing system for other people's agendas, right? Every time you open it first thing in the morning, you are effectively surrendering your cognitive peak, the most expensive mental real estate you own, to the lowest bidder. I want you to think about the valuation. The real valuation of your time. You see, you are trading your deep work, the kind of high-level strategic thinking that generates $100K or more in value, for shallow work that only pays you in temporary dopamine hits. You feel busy, sure, but you aren't being productive. True productivity isn't about how quickly you can clear the queue. No, it's about how fiercely you own the clock. But there's a reason this surrender feels so natural, and it's a detail most people miss. Every tiny decision you make while scrolling through those emails, whether to reply now, archive, flag for later, is draining a very specific, very finite internal battery. By the time you finally close that tab to start your real work, you've already committed a fatal error, one that has nothing to do with your inbox and everything to do with how your brain processes choices. And this leads us directly into a psychological trap called decision fatigue, where your ability to make high-level moves is dead on arrival before noon. Look, if we're actually going to solve this $100,000 mystery, we need to stop acting like victims of our own schedules, right? It's time to start acting like forensic investigators. I want you to implement what I call the Sherlock Shield. This is a high-performance protocol specifically designed to protect your most valuable asset, your cognitive focus, from being hijacked by everyone else's priorities. The first layer of the shield, it's the 90-minute rule. For the first hour and a half of your workday, your inbox is, it's a closed case. Think of this as your investigation phase. This is the window where your brain's neuroplasticity is at its peak, and your decision-making battery is fully charged. During these 90 minutes, you only touch high-leverage projects. The kind of work that actually moves the needle on your career. If you spend this time responding to those urgent CC'd threads, you're essentially giving away your best mental resources for free. I need you to treat this time as sacred. Next, we have to address the constant pings that fragment your attention. We're switching to batch processing. Instead of leaving your email tab open like an open wound, you are going to check it exactly twice, once at 11 a.m. and once at 4 p.m. By 11 a.m., you've already completed your investigation phase. By 4 p.m., you're clearing the deck for the next day. Everything in between is deep work. This isn't just about time management. It's about protecting your dopamine baseline so you don't become addicted to the quick win of clearing a notification. But what about the emails that actually require work? That's where we apply the 2-minute rule. Look, as you go through your batch, if an email requires more than 120 seconds of thought, it's no longer an email. It's a project. Do not let it sit in your mental overhead, draining your energy every time you see it. Move it directly to your calendar or your task management system. If it takes more than 2 minutes, it deserves a dedicated block of time, not a rushed, half-baked reply in the middle of your lunch break. I know the fear that's likely creeping in right now. You're worried about the professional fallout, right? You're worried your boss or your clients will think you've gone AWOL. But here is the secret to setting boundaries. You don't just disappear, you communicate the system. You can update your internal status or even use a simple autoresponder that says, in order to provide the highest quality of work for my clients, I only check email at 11 a.m. and 4 p.m. If this is a true emergency, please reach me at this number. When you do this, something fascinating happens. You stop being seen as the person who is always available, and you start being seen as the person who is incredibly disciplined and high value. You aren't just not answering, you are protecting the work they pay you for. However, even with this shield in place, there is a hidden psychological predator waiting to sabotage your progress. It's a phenomenon that happens the moment you finally close your laptop for the night. And it's the reason why even the most productive people still feel like they're failing. We need to look at the evidence of the Zeigarnik effect. Because if you don't master this next piece, your inbox will continue to haunt your sleep long after the workday is over. You see, the investigation into your lost hours is reaching its final conclusion. We've looked at the digital fingerprints left by your reactive lifestyle, and the evidence is, well, it's overwhelming. You aren't just losing minutes to an app, right? No, you're losing the compound interest of your own potential. When I talk about the $100,000 mistake, I'm not just talking about some theoretical number in your bank account. I'm talking about the actual value of your cognitive energy, the literal price of your focus. Every time you prioritize someone else's low-stakes request over your high-stakes vision, you're effectively handing over a portion of your future wealth. I mean, you've been playing the role of the inbox intern, a prime suspect in the theft of your own time. But today, the investigation shifts. It's time for you to step into the role of the architect. Just think about what happens when you finally stop being a victim of your notifications. When you reclaim that $100,000 in time and mental clarity, where does it go? Well, it goes into the business you've been too tired to start. It goes into the leadership role you've been too distracted to claim. It goes into a life where you aren't just surviving the day, but strategically designing it. You see, this isn't just about managing a tool, it's about an identity shift. You are no longer the person who reacts. You are the person who initiates. The case of the $100,000 mistake is officially closed. You have the evidence, the psychological blueprints, and the tactical shields to protect your focus. Now, the only question left is, what will you build with the space you've cleared? If you're ready to stop being a suspect in your own life and start being the lead investigator of your success, make sure you subscribe to Power of Mindset. Together, we'll continue to decode the behaviors that hold you back so you can finally own your future. I'll see you in the next analysis.